Gallery. This is Spider-Man 4 by the almighty Todd McFarlane. In this issue, Spider-Man states several times that he has got no idea what is going on. And it's reasons like that which make him one of the most relatable superheroes around. I have been generally sour on this storyline. It's a failure. I didn't care how many sales the first issue had, or how well Todd McFarlane draws certain bits of it. As a story, it is a failure. It doesn't know what it wants to do, and Todd McFarlane, he doesn't have the writing skill, at least when this came out, to make the story actually do anything. It is a bunch of ideas stapled together, but never really explored, and it's dragged out across 5 issues, even though, as just said, he doesn't really explore any of the ideas that he has put together. Spider-Man, he has been drugged, and he is seeing Unterman's Casper, and it has got a hole in the head from where the gun blew his brains out. And this leads to some tawdry Spider-Man rising above and overcoming his fears and his powerlessness. Something like this, it can have a great effect. It can be like a classic moment. But the problem is that Todd McFarlane, he has done this sequence already in the story, and in each case it doesn't feel like the scenario calls for it. In this instance, we ended last issue with Unterman showing up, and we start this issue with Spider-Man having internal monologues about being defeated, but Unterman hasn't actually done anything. Spider-Man is being faced with an apparition of a dead man, and rather than dive into that and what seeing Unterman's Casper might do to Spider-Man, Todd McFarlane, he gains the route of having Spider-Man immediately shed and overcome the experience. This story and this issue in particular, they are notoriously lacking. A good example of that is our villain Calypso, the voodoo lady. She has been relegated to annoying subplot pages in the first 3 issues, and we get to this issue and she is face to face with Spider-Man, and rather than offer any characterization or motivation to her, she just continues to be a cryptic enigma. In one line of dialogue, she will claim that Spider-Man caused Unterman's death, and that is all we get in the way of explanation for why she is doing this, why she is a baddie. We didn't really even get much of a sense of what she's even trying to do. She's meant to be like tormenting Spider-Man, but her methods of doing so didn't stand up to examination. To torment Spider-Man, she has been banging on some drums for 3 issues, and the drums, they made Lizard Man gone into a frenzy, and Spider-Man, well, he would want to stop Lizard Man. It doesn't work as a revenge plot. Why doesn't she just do something a bit cliche, like stab Aunt May? We also have constant cutaways to Spider-Man's supermodel wife Mary James. McFarlane has been doing these in every issue, and 4 issues in, he still has not presented anything new with them. He just repeats the same thing. Even in the same issues, he'll cut away to Mary James wondering where Spider-Man is, and then trying to take her mind off of it. It's pointless. This isn't character work, it's time wasting. A lot of this story could be defined as time wasting. Then we have got this bit where we have flashbacks to Calypso's past, but it isn't saying anything. It's not telling us why she is evil or why she does the things she does. Like here, we have how she met Unterman, but this again, just tells us nothing. It tells us she met Unterman. It doesn't let us know why she liked Unterman, or what their relationship was, or why Unterman's death motivated her. In fact, his death isn't even mentioned in these flashbacks. This story arc is a shambles, but of all the parts of it, this one easily ranks as the objective worst. The first issue, the problem with that one was that nothing happened, but we still had a sense of some direction or tone, whereas this one is just a mess. It's both boring and confusing. And when I say confusing, I didn't mean in the sense that I cannot follow it or I didn't understand it. I mean that it is confusing in its goals. Nothing is accomplished in this issue. Spider-Man is tied up for most of it. This is the issue where they are meant to explain stuff or really clue us in on what we have been seeing and how Calypso weighs into it all. And all we get is some rambling backstory that doesn't let you know anything, some melodramatic inner monologue from Spider-Man, and the same Mary Jane scene that we've seen about 6 times already in this story. The main thing though is the letters at the back. Apparently they got over 3,000 letters, and our very first letter is a short cry of, "An artist you are, a writer you most certainly are not." They all follow suit of harshly criticising Todd McFarlane's writing. So please, if any of you McFarlane worshippers are going to downvote this and try and dox us, why didn't you do Jonathan Ashby from 12 Wellington Park Avenue in North Belfast first? He was having a go at your god 30 years before I was. I actually think Todd McFarlane, his writing and his art, it worked well enough when it was just Spider-Man fighting Lizard Man. And this story even has a good excuse to make that the entire plot. They've got it so that Lizard Man, he cannot be killed because of voodoo nonsense. Whenever he dies, he is brought back. And I feel that if McFarlane had just ran with that as the sole idea of Spider-Man having a relentless series of brutal fights with Lizard Man, I think this would be so much better. But Todd McFarlane, he had eyes on doing something more introspective and thoughtful, and he just can't do that. This issue is really bad. I did for a few seconds think that it was a candidate for being torn up, but that seems a bit extreme for what is mostly just a directionless slog. I rate it 7 thumbs up.